Welcome back to another edition of Lakers Fast Break. LakerTom's about to go play some poker in Vegas. I'm Jamie Sweet, and my 5-year-old is playing with some dolls right over there. So if you hear some background,
we just missed our dog howling with the sirens.
Perhaps they'll do a duet later. Maybe we can talk them into doing a duet. Let me pop the chat up over here. It's just the welcoming intro to the chat. Welcome to another Welcome to another edition of Lakers Fast Break. Hold on, take two. Welcome to another edition of Lakers Fast Break. Spotlight on Lakerholics. Tom and I help, along with Michael H., kind of help keep Lakerholics going. Tom started it. We
got to get Michael H. on here.
I know. The time difference might be a rough one for him. He'll be like waking up when we're going to bed. But
why?
He's going to be, for him right now, it would be, I think, 7 o'clock, 6 o'clock, something like that. Maybe only 5 o'clock. He might be able to do like an 11 o'clock show. I'm down. I'm down to get any Lakerholic who sees this and wants to come on. Let me or Tom know. We're happy to chat with you. DJ, if you want to come on and show some of your pictures of you with the 70s stash, hanging out with Kurt Russell or Magic Johnson.
He's got a picture of him and his kid with every single NBA.
Every single celebrity you can imagine. DJ and his kid are like,
they're everywhere, man.
Everywhere. Evidently everybody goes to Indiana at some point. So
some point in time, yep.
Yep. What's up? Expert Park. Hello there, Park. It's not a ton to talk about today. Not much has changed in the NBA since the last time Tom and I talked. And in general, we are in what's known as in NBA circles as the dog days of summer. Although if you're in Southern California like I am, it doesn't feel like summer. It's very rainy today. Well, not rainy, but it's like kind of drizzly and humid. It's very, very oddly tropical weather this summer. So it's going to be it's an odd summer down here.
You said a hurricane, It
was not a hurricane. It barely. In parts it was. I think a little further inland it was a little bit worse. But in general, it kind of didn't like hit the way I think a lot of people expected it to. Which
we still have a lot of things to talk about though, because it's it's amazing that the NBA really never stops.
No, we can. And
the Lakers. We've got the Austin Reaves show. You're talking about a guy, Austin Reaves. He comes back in the last game. It's almost like the rest of the team doesn't want to pass the guy the ball. And Austin, frankly, I think didn't take a couple shots that he should have taken just simply because he didn't want people to think that he was overbuying the hype, and so forth.
No, he doesn't want to think.
What's the guy do? He gets to the line 11 times, makes 9 free throws, and finally, with 2 minutes left to go in the game, hits the clutching shot with a 3, shoots from 50% from 3 for the game, really won the game, was the second most minutes, the second most points, 3 steals.
One of the best defenders.
And this was an off game for him.
What?
Here's the guy who doesn't matter how many times you give him the ball or how many times he shoots, he's still going to average at least double digits.
So me and my
option on the team.
Me and the word optimism, right, Tom? It's like an anathema to my being. So, but I did come up with a topic for us to talk about today that is the beyond. For me, it's a beyond hype topic. I can't even believe I'm possibly about to utter these words. That's how outside my wheelhouse this is. But my question for you is Austin Reaves already a steal at $56 million? Is he already one of the best value contracts in the NBA? And we haven't even seen him.
It's a 4-year deal, so it's what's $56 million divided by 4. You're looking at like $13 million.
A little more. It's like 13.5.
So $14 million. He's a steal at $13 or $14 million. He would have been a steal at $20 million. I don't buy this whole thing about the other teams that were kicking their butts for not having forced the Lakers to agree to a deal over $100 million, for example, because the Lakers would have done it, and it would have been just wasted time for them and effort. And I think most teams really focus on wanting to make sure that they make the right moves for their team rather than trying to trying to screw another team, and that doesn't serve your purpose. You may want to trade with these guys sometime,
Right.
So I think most teams are going to look at that not the way that we see being hyped, but Austin really, there's another question that strikes me because I put a tweet in. I guess it's not a tweet; it's a post on X that basically said the Lakers have three options, and they're not if they want to do something. The first option is to trade Russell and Hachimura, and maybe other pieces. Okay, but that's a $40 million option. You can get $40 million player back.
Real quick, time out. Before we get, just so you know, just so the listeners at home and the people watching right now know, most of these guys can't be moved until December 15th.
No.
These trades can't happen right now.
And some of the guys they may want back happen until January 15th.
Tom likes to plan way down the line before training camp, before the season starts, and before they can be traded. He's already thinking about trading them, just so you know where Tom's coming from.
Well, but let me temper that with a little reality that not only do you have to realize that you've got, a good half of the season that you're going to see these guys before you make a decision. So you don't even know what your guys are going to be worth or what the guys you're looking for are going to be worth.
Very true.
To watch. I think the point that I've been trying to make with the various articles that I've been writing is that what are the Lakers' likely options? And they really have three options if you look at it realistically. One is to trade Russell and Hachimura, and they can get back $40 million for that.
Yeah.
The second option probably is to trade just Russell, and you get back $20 million for that. Sure. And the third option is you don't trade anybody, because first off, Rui can make himself untradeable just like Reaves can. He's got that much potential, and we paid so much for him that's a possibility. Russell is a harder situation because the better that Russell plays, the better it's easier it is to trade him for more. And he's a desirable guy. So there's three options in there. And then if you look at the three maximum things that you're going to do, you have to think about I put out three different options that were the $40 million price tags.
Yeah.
One was Trae Young, and the other was Zach LaVine, and the third one was Buddy Hield and Miles Turner.
Yeah.
So you got two superstar options, and then you got a deep option. Which should be best? The superstar options answer the question of who replaces LeBron.
Kinda,
yeah. Because how do you replace LeBron?
LeBron is about to go for 40,000 points this year. If he plays over 50 games,
but the third option gives you super depth. With if you get Buddy and Turner, man. So then the question becomes, you can postpone LeBron maybe for a couple of years. He could play longer, and Reaves and super depth might be the answer. Totally.
I tend to favor depth over star power in general.
Yeah, I do too.
Not that I ever mind it when we trade for a superstar. I was happy when Anthony Davis finally came here.
Hard to give the ball to three guys, though.
It's hard to get to they have to be the right three superstars. And my biggest contention has always been is that the Lakers tend to not pay the support players after that. They go, well, we got 3 stars. Let's fill it in with vet minimums and call it a team. And that doesn't work.
Give me 2 stars. 2 stars and a super deep bench, man, and I'll take that any day.
Or 2 stars and 4 guys with potential stardom. And
I've always said that instead of that third superstar, what you need is 2 second-tier stars.
Sure.
Russell and Reaves.
2 or 3. I would say 2 or 3. I would say
3 or 4 or 5.
I think that's a little egregious. I think 2 or 3 is reasonable.
A little greedy.
Egregious. It's
but
not,
wait, when you think of when you think of the championship,
okay, hold on, wait. Who are the 2 besides Reaves, Hachimura, and Russell? Reddish and Hayes.
Reddish and Hayes jumped to my mind immediately because those are the 2 wild cards that if they could come through,
they're not that wild though. They're not that wild. I mean,
well,
you're talking about
in the sense that everybody. First off, they're minimum contract guys,
right?
They're top 10 draft picks that we got on minimum contract because they haven't panned out where they've been before, but they both show great potential.
Sure.
And like you said, I don't think they're as wild cards as people make them out to be. I think they both are two. Those are two 75-25 coin flips in my favor. I think, because I think that the Lakers can get the best out of those two guys. The only sad thing is that we'll lose them if they do well. They'll become the next Malik Monk and and so forth with us. But I do think that they could be, that's how you end up with 4 or 5 guys that could be, like you said, that second tier stars to go with your superstars.
Right.
I mean, every time you win a championship, you can go back and look at the roster, and almost always there are a half a dozen guys who had career years. I mean, that's what it takes. It takes luck of being healthy.
Yep.
And a bunch of guys who have career years, and put it together.
Well, if you look at the Laker teams that were considered dynasty or had dynasty potential, and that's obviously the Showtime Lakers, deep roster, different era of spending. The money worked completely differently in the 80s. The salaries were everything was different in the 80s, but the blueprint wasn't. But we're doing this without going over the first threshold even. That's what I'm getting. So I'm getting
pretty
around.
Impressive.
I'm getting around to that. So then the second dynasty would obviously be like Kobe, Shaq, right?
Yep.
Kobe, Shaq were 2 Nova hot stars, but then the support guys around them were always solid, and they kept that core together for 3 solid years, and that core worked. The Derek Fisher, Big Shot Bob, Rick Fox,
last 3 peat, man.
That was 3 deep, and then they always found an auxiliary guy every year to kind of like fill in the gaps, whether it was Shannon Brown, Glenn Rice, whoever. We hoped but the year that they went big and got Peyton and Karl Malone, it didn't work so hot. Now, I'm not going to blame that on Karl Malone and Gary Payton being such stars. I think they were too old. That team was already falling apart by the end of the season anyway because of
that injury to Karl though.
It was so it didn't need to happen.
The heart out.
He didn't need to
like
be
the
on
double hamstrings. He
didn't need to be on the floor for the last minute of that game that he got hurt, and that's a championship right there. That's another banner on the wall. That choice by Phil to just leave Karl in for some weird reason. And I remember, like, you watch the play-by-play. If you go back and watch that game. That's the 0.4 game, by the way. That's the game Fisher hit the shot, or that's the game after 0.4. Fish hits the shot to win it all. But the issue is that, then the next game we win, but Malone is out basically for the entire NBA Finals. Or when he does play, he's a shadow of himself, can't move.
Shadow, yeah.
And Peyton was just awful for us. He was just awful for us. Just didn't fit into Phil's system. Didn't play well with Shaq, like you kind of hoped he could. They weren't able to. Shaq was.
But if those are the. I don't regret that series the way that I do, like the one that we lost to the Pistons because of the injuries to Magic and Byron Scott.
Again, Coach Riley, right? That's the coach. That both of those losses are I put mostly on the coach. I don't put it mostly on the players. The coach in both cases made what could be considered incredibly questionable choices.
Right.
One was to run his stars into the ground, Pat Riley. The other was to make a point about I don't know what to Karl Malone. I don't know what
you've been watching Winning Time.
I haven't started season 2 yet, but I'm going to. I know I know the writer begged us to watch it, but I'm waiting.
I think it's better than season 1.
I'm sure it is because it's got to be Magic Bird. I mean, it is Magic Bird. And
it's the what I found terrific was the dynamic between. If the casting of the show is so good, just so good.
John C. Reilly is Dr. Bill.
It's his lifetime role, man. And the guys who play Magic and Kareem,
spot on.
They are just so spot on that it's. And you even heard Jeannie Buss say that she loves the show because it's like watching her dad. She can see so much of her dad in John D. Reilly's portrayal of him that it's just. And even sometimes not positively portrayed. Jerry's. Yeah, I love the guy. The guy who's playing Jerry West does a great job too. And
oh man, I know Jerry didn't like
how Westhead is just
Yeah.
I don't want to give you any spoilers.
Don't give me any spoilers. Okay. I mean, it's not spoilers though. We know how it ends.
No, but it's...
There was somebody who was like, I don't want to. I don't like when Winning Time season 1 came out. Somebody was like, oh man, because somebody had watched the whole season before I even started, and they're like, oh man, you're gonna love it. I don't want to tell you how it ends. I was like, no, I'm pretty sure I can tell you how it ended.
Right.
With the Lakers with Magic.
Well, this is like an alternate reality that is a lot more fun.
Sure. But like, they're not going to change who won the NBA title that year. Like that's pretty.
Nope, they don't change that.
That's good.
They change where Magic demands a trade. And,
sure. Whatever. It's on the list. It's going to happen.
The thing I love the best too is they asked Paul Westhead what he thought about the show.
Well, what did you think?
I mean, if you thought Jerry West thought he got a bad deal, Westhead has just been reamed in this series.
Yeah, he gets a
But Westhead said, I thought the guy who played me did a terrific job. No. Totally classy acting.
Paul Westhead is always classy. And I think he did have like a spot of theater. He has a spot of theater in him. So
he just got carried away, man. He got carried away with this whole.
Yeah.
I mean, people were really stunned. I can remember thinking back then, wait a minute, Paul Westhead wants to run and Magic Johnson wants to run. How the hell could they be a conflict?
Right.
What's the conflict, man?
Well, also Norm Nixon. All right. Well, that's what paves the way for your favorite Lakers coach of all time, Byron Scott.
Jeez. Did you see that somebody actually asked this idiot, would you like to come back?
Of course,
are you interested in coaching again?
Of course he is.
I mean, that's like asking me if I'm interested in playing basketball again because I can't. Because I'm too old. I can't run up and down the court.
He and Mike D'Antoni will always have a job somewhere, unfortunately.
Jesus, amazing.
The two of them should join forces. Is what they should do. They're a full.
They're total opposites. One guy who believes in the 3-point shot, and the other guy who just absolutely refuses to modernize his game when he had a chance as a coach.
Anyway, Kurt Affair, what's up, everyone? Lakers Fast Break. What's up, everyone? Gerald's here. Byron Scott was the tank commander. He played his role. The tank commander. Anyway, those days are gone now. We can move on from those.
Byron thinks we're going to win a championship. So
I think we've got as good a chance as the top 4 teams.
He thinks Rob's going to win Executive of the Year.
If we make the playoffs as a home court advantage, I think he should. I think if we finish 4th or lower, I think he should be at least in the running. The only thing that could upset that apple cart is if Daryl Morey gets some sort of incredible haul for James Harden, or if I always forget the guy up in Portland, the GM in Portland's name, Coughlin, something, some kind of guy. If he gets a ridiculous,
it seems like they ought to trade Harden and Dame. Let's just trade them.
Just swap them.
The problem,
Just swap the two.
Yeah, just swap the two of them. It's about the same money, man.
Neither team. Nobody will be happy then. James won't be happy because Portland doesn't have the kind of clubs he likes.
Well,
he'll have to use his points to get to Vegas every weekend.
He really, really, really must like the clubs in Houston.
Oh yeah.
I mean, all of a sudden, out of thin air, just to say, you know what I'd like to do for my career right now? I'd like to go back to Houston.
That was just him. This will go down as the worst leverage play in the history of athletes. It should be, it won't be, but it should be a forewarning to athletes over 33 who think they still have the gravity.
And that number is getting lower every year, despite LeBron James. With regular people, that number gets lower.
Depending on what you've accomplished in the league, that number is lower. Like a 30-year-old Anthony Davis without LeBron doesn't have the same gravity, know? And we wouldn't get what we traded for AD now if we traded him.
32-year-old Giannis.
Same thing. So, and Giannis, I thought, played it right in that he was like, I'm not signing an extension now. It doesn't even make sense for me to do it until next summer when the money goes up and I can make more. I can sign for bigger and longer because of my years of service, yada, yada, yada. Smart thing because that's all exactly factually correct. He's being exactly factually honest and correct when he says that. That it does make.
He's already said that he's not tied to staying in the same place for his entire career.
No, but he says that he wants to. He would like to be like, he said many times that he would like to be like Kobe, that he'd like to be like Nowitzki. He would like to be like D Wade, one of those guys. Well, I guess D Wade ended up not playing for Miami for his entire career, but one of those guys who rides it out, rides through the good times and the bad. As long as the bad times are still focused on winning now. And that's I think the key. I think if he starts to see and this is what happened with Damian Lillard, right? Everybody gave Damian Lillard props for when he stuck with Portland when they were mediocre. And then when it was obvious that they were not going to go all in this season, and probably not for 2 or 3 seasons after this. And yes, he signed that extension, but I think he's handled everything.
They just really they didn't have the assets to make the kind of trades to.
Well, they really blew it on the McCollum trade. That was their best trading chip, and they didn't get. They needed to bring back a dynamic big man, and they just brought back another guy who needs the ball.
Yeah.
And Grant and.
But it's so hard when you're in the middle of the pack like that.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not saying that whoever, and that's true, Kurt. What's up, Luca? Nice to see everybody. I mean, that's absolutely true. It's not. It's. I'm not saying the organization failed Dame. I think that Dame was as patient as one could be, and I won't be surprised if you see something similar from Giannis, except for that he won't sign the extension. He'll hit free agency, and he'll make.
I actually think guys like Giannis probably end up getting traded, simply because.
Maybe I think.
Well, first off, from the team standpoint, you can't lose that type of asset to free agency. You just can't. Even though you can never get your value back, you have to make the trade. And from the player standpoint,
tell that to the Anaheim Angels.
Yeah, and from the player standpoint, guys still want to control as much as they can where to go.
Of course. Who wouldn't?
He's not going to demand to go to a specific team, but he's probably going to let it be certainly known that there's a half a dozen teams that I would be happy to be going to. And he'll do this at a point in time where he's within a year of free agency, so that there's his desire of where to go will be affected by whether or not they can re-sign him.
Well, I think a lot hinges on this season. The Bucks need to. The Bucks need to get.
Yeah, it was first and foremost a notice to the Bucks.
Right. If the Bucks
don't count on me if you don't do what you got to do.
Right. If the Bucks don't make at least the conference finals this season, I don't think he signs the extension this summer. I think he says.
Yeah, but they did what they could do. They brought back the guys they needed to bring back.
They did what they could do this summer, and we'll see what they do this season.
Right.
Because they need to get younger.
Yeah.
They're looking at the same issue the Lakers had a couple seasons ago, except their older guys are probably better than our older guys were that season. But
that's still one of the most remarkable accomplishments that Rob Pelinka has done, which is to drop the age of this team like 5 years and fell swoop of a season.
From the NBA AARP team to the NBA's
to the point where you wonder maybe we do need a veteran, just one little guy out of all these guys. I mean, we got a lot of young guys and
got a lot of young guys. Kurt, I would say it's hard to tell. If it's a trade, I think the Knicks and the Raptors probably have the assets to make the best offer for Milwaukee. They can add a lot. New York has a pretty decent amount of draft picks still available. They haven't really sent all their draft picks out. They've done a lot of their moves through free agency. And the Raptors have a lot of draft picks and players that you could easily trade Giannis for, and Milwaukee would feel like it's a win. Siakam and Anunoby. Problem being with the Raptors is that once you do that, you're kind of like the problem is that
a poor shooting team is the real problem with the Raptors. That's not where
and Giannis isn't
a horrible fit for Giannis.
Giannis isn't going to solve that. They need to trade for like a Buddy Hield or they could maybe trade for D'Angelo Russell.
The team that you worry about that would love to get Giannis would be Miami, man, because they got shooters.
And I think that Miami would consider trading Bam Adebayo and another guy for Giannis.
I'll tell you one thing too. I think that for Giannis, I think that the Lakers would also include Austin Reaves in a package.
They would have to. I don't know if the Lakers could put together a package that could beat what if New York was interested, what New Yorker, and if Toronto was interested, what Toronto. I mean, that's not.
Well, I think Reaves. I think theoretically Reaves could be one of the best players being offered when you look at his age and the upside. Still,
we'll see. That's. I mean, I would like to think that. I would like to believe that, but I need to see that the proof needs to be in the pudding for me a little bit. Team USA is great. It's one thing, but everything's different. Rules are different.
Life is tough when you can't think about things until they happen.
Or not just think they're going to happen because I thought it up. This will happen, or this will happen, or this will happen, or that'll happen, or this will happen, or that'll happen. Okay. Refs. Yeah. No. I don't listen. I don't think anything's going to happen on this whole situation. Really was. I think Tom put it right. It was just a wake up call of management from Giannis to Bucks management. Make it happen. And
now, if the Bucks, you got to remember they lost in the first round.
They got bumped in the first round, but Giannis was a little bit hurt.
Yeah.
Drew Holiday was a little bit not himself. I don't know if he was hurt or if he's just getting old, and this is him getting old. And Chris Middleton was just coming back from major injury. So,
but they still lost.
I could see the Bucks having a year like the Warriors had 2 seasons ago, where Clay.
But if they start off poorly,
then
it doesn't look like Giannis is going to sign that extension in summer. I think they'll trade him in the off season.
Yeah, they'll trade him they'll trade him next summer. They won't trade him.
You just cannot let it. You cannot let him walk. I mean, that would be like the worst management. I mean, I don't care what you get a few draft picks for him, get something for him.
They should, but it remains to be seen. I mean, the Angels.
You don't want to wait until he's a free agent because then a sign and trade is going to limit who you can send him to.
Sure.
So you got to do it before his final year.
It's true.
Kind of like the Lakers with LeBron. You know what I mean?
Right.
Theoretically, LeBron could decide, I'm going to retire. Even though I got a year on the contract.
I tend to agree with Luca. The only way for the Lakers to get Giannis without wasting all the work done is free agency. I think that should you
you can't. The Lakers can't clear enough cap space.
No, we were talking about that. I guess that's exactly what we talked about a while ago.
We were going for continuity instead of that.
Yeah, I agree.
We already flipped that coin and said we want continuity in contracts.
Well, and roster depth.
And tradable contracts, man.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, but the idea for tradable contracts is that you bundle them together and get a guy like Giannis, hopefully. But I just think that when it comes to the talent and the pedigree that Giannis has, I don't know that Russell, Hachimura, and Reaves and probably Vando and what do we have, like 2 first-round draft picks in the next 7 years, something like that?
No, but what we can do is we can
do a couple pick swaps.
We can do swaps. Do a swap. You have 1 pick that you can trade, unless you wait till summer. If you're talking mid-season, just 1 pick.
Yeah, I don't think anything's happening mid-season.
And then so you do a pick and 2 trades, 2 swaps, and basically the swaps are essentially this. There's just like an unprotected pick, man.
I don't know about that. I mean, I think I go back and forth on whether a pick swap.
I've never seen any swaps, and I don't know if you can do this, but I've never seen swaps protected. Whereas first round pick usually gets protected something, but on a swap, those are almost always unprotected, and the chance to get a 29 or 30 Lakers pick unprotected, essentially a swap for those 3 years. That could be very valuable. I mean, why do you think despite, like, look at the Indiana Pacers. They really have 2 timelines going on. They got the Buddy and Miles timeline, and then they got all these other kids that they're getting like crazy.
But I think that that's a recipe for success on some level.
Well, why do you think that the Lakers never got Turner? Because they've never offered that pick. They've never been willing to give up that unprotected. score.
I don't even know that Indy's put Turner on the market. Everybody just associates.
Well, Indy's really a hard team to figure out, But
no, I disagree.
The truth is that they want to do both. They want to be competitive. They want to try to stay in the middle, where generally you never can be successful because you can't get a good enough pick.
Yeah, but they have a fan base that doesn't care.
Yep.
They have a fan base that's like, I'm a
take that, DJ.
But that's that fan base that's just like, this is my team, right? Doesn't matter who's on it. Doesn't matter who.
As long as it's basketball, Indiana will take whatever it is.
And I think that they are using Turner and Heald as insurance for a potential playoff run should it come down to it.
Yeah. I think they'll trade you one of them. They definitely want to get rid of Buddy at this point in time because they've got too many guards.
I think that he's fit in pretty well there. I think that he
has.
He has.
He's played. People who thought that he's actually shown more ability to make assists, his shooting has remained at a high level.
Yeah, and he's been on all teams. And this is the other thing about Buddy.
I've started to even wonder whether or not I've always been the one who said if you can only get one of those chasers, take Miles. But lately, I've been actually sort of wavering where I'm 50-50.
I think for this team, you would want Buddy Hield more than Miles Turner.
God, I don't know. I don't know about that. From a defensive standpoint, imagine trying to score on the Lakers. You can guard your guys out at the 3-point line so much more aggressively when you have Davis and Turner protecting the rim.
Or the perimeter. They both are easily switch. They're both athletic.
They both can switch.
They both can switch. I think Hayes can.
I hope we do a lot of switching. We have bigger guards now, and we have guys who can switch. I would like to see us switch everything.
I think we'll do that with certain lineups.
Well, I hope we will at least because for one thing, it's the perfect match for drop coverage because I hate to see guards put our guards in jail and get into the key for these little floaters just because our big men aren't going to come out. When you play switch everything, it's a lot easier to stay in front of your guy. It just makes it so much easier. And we've got the guys like Reaves who it's not so easy to post up Austin Reaves as guys in FIBA finding out,
No, he's got good hands. This is funny. I'd probably go Turner because shooters forget how to shoot once they get to the Lakers.
I don't think Buddy is going to be one of those guys.
I feel like Buddy might be the exception to that rule, but I hear you on that. It is where the 3-point marksman comes to die.
Yeah.
But I also think, and this is something that I think people kind of tend to gloss over as well. It's not always the shooter's fault. I think when we had Reggie Bullock and when we had Wesley Matthews both times, and when we had I always forget his name, the small forward. That'll come to me in a minute. Ben McLemore. When we had McLemore, we're not the type of team that runs set plays to get a shooter open in their spots.
Right.
Because LeBron has the ball, because LeBron likes to play basketball a certain kind of way, you're not running guys. You're not seeing the kind of action you see on the Warriors, where Steph doesn't need the ball and he's running off of screens and he's causing havoc on the court. And his movement alone without the ball is enough to create scoring opportunities because Draymond Green is that good of a passer, because they have enough guys who can make shots, things like that. That's why Golden State works.
Well, they also take a lot more shots, man.
But that's what I mean. We don't put
enough threes that you can really get great 3-point shooter in rhythm. And
we don't put Wesley Matthews in and say we want you to go shoot 5 shots. We put Wesley Matthews in and we say.
In fact, what we say first is, by the way, you can't even play you 3 shooters over here unless you play defense.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
So you got to get a guy who can play defense.
Right.
See, I think Buddy can. There aren't that many guys in the league who, if you stick them over in a corner, you can play 4-on-4 the rest of the game.
No, I agree.
Buddy Hield is one of those guys, You're not going to leave him in the corner. Nobody is. The guy who's on Buddy Hield is going to be told, you only go like 2 steps away to try to help defense, man. Otherwise, you stay.
It's that. Right. No, I agree. I think that Buddy Hield is maybe the one shooter besides
Steph Curry, Klay Thompson,
besides
guys on the Warriors.
Guys who you're not going to be able to get, though, right? Like, you're not going to get
exactly.
Steph Curry. Like, it's just not going to happen. Like, it's just
I could name you 10 shooters I'd rather have than Buddy, but they're all unavailable.
But they're all ungettable, right? Yeah. So, like, of the guys who we can get,
can we have Booker? How about Booker? How about Durant?
No. But of the guys we can get, Buddy is, I think, the one that would probably be just fine, and might be able to help LeBron offset his own personal gravity. I mean, I'm still of the opinion that
4 against 4 versus 5 against 5.
Yeah,
you played the game on the gym. Just go into a game on Saturday and play 5-on-5 and 4-on-4, and the difference is a world, man.
I still think LeBron will still have threes, the 3-point shot open for him, and that.
I think LeBron's going to hit his threes this year.
We'll see.
He's going to shoot 36% from 3.
That's bold.
And he's going to take 8 of them a game.
Muscala.
That's going to be the only way he's probably going to be able to continue to score close to 30 a game.
Just say no to Muscala. I'll forever hate Muscala just for us getting rid of Zubats.
Well, I don't know.
I
wouldn't trade for Zubats at this point in time.
Empire Jeff.
I've seen him in a lot of Clippers trades.
Yeah, but I mean, he's great for what you ask. Ty Lue has been perfect, coached Zubats perfectly. He's been. Yeah. I want you to set screens.
Ivica's turned into a much better player than I thought he was going to be.
He's got a role. He's got a role that he excels at. They're not asking him to shoot threes. They're like rebound, set screens, hit, roll to the rim hard.
I wonder if he's going to add that to his game, because he's now starting. I mean, even now you get the Clippers looking to, they want more spacing,
He's I agree. Empire Jeff, and just another note, just make sure you treat your population well, your serfs and your dukes, and make sure you treat the people of the Empire with kindness and grace. I kind of agree with this. I think that beyond and we talked about this on our last show last week a little bit. I think the league is sort of waiting on two scenarios: the superstar scenarios being resolved, and the talented young rosters that have too many talented young players.
Right.
Over the minimum, or rather over the maximum. Some guy's going to get cut. What guys are those? And that's why I think everything's just hit pause till one of those two log jams starts to break
probably
up.
Right, and it's probably not going to be log jam themselves until right before training camp.
It's going to be right. It's going to be a week or two before camp breaks and the season starts. So if that, it might even be the day before season starts. So that's when you have to cut the roster down. Is the day the season starts. You have to be down to 15. Or up to 15.
I think it's 13.
13. Yeah, 15 maximum, 13 minimum. So you have to either have 13 roster guys and be at
you have to hit a salary. You have to hit the
salary floor.
80 or 90% of the salary.
Right. So you have to hit the salary floor and have 13 guys. And so that's and you can't come into camp. You can't come into the season any other way. So that's those.
And you can't send any of those players down to the G League or AAA.
No, that's the other problem.
It's two-way contract or something.
It's not like Major League Baseball where you have an option on your young guy for a couple of years and you can just float around while you figure out how you want to use him. He's either got to play or go away, and so that's going to be interesting. It's going to be kind of interesting how those two situations shake out, because obviously a Harden or Dame trade or both means a meteoric shift in talent. Right. That means a bunch of guys are going to one team and one or two guys are coming to another. And however that all shakes out is going to change how things, right. And then all of your assumptions kind of go out the window after that, because you assumed that all these other guys would be on the teams they were on. And then again, with a team like OKC, which, knocked on the door of the playoffs, right? Like, hey, they were for real. I think they made the play-in, right? They
may have the best backcourt in the league, man.
They might have a top 5 backcourt in the league easily. And they're gonna be pushing somebody who might have. I mean,
Chet could. Is he eligible for Rookie of the Year? I think because he missed last year because of the.
No, I don't think so. Because maybe because he never played, right?
He never played. I mean, I think it was who was the Laker guy got hurt
Julius Randle, game 1.
Randle got hurt in the first game, wasn't it?
13 minutes into the game, 17 minutes into the game, something
Right,
like
and
that.
I don't think Chet played because it was all exhibition, so he may be eligible.
He might be eligible for Rookie of the Year, and he could very well win it.
He could win. He could win that,
but he won't. Wembanyama is going to win it.
Well, I don't know about that.
I'd be stoked if Chet won it and if he's eligible. But I mean, in a way, that's kind of unfair to Victor because Chet's at least gone through being on an NBA team.
Years worth of training.
Yeah, years and traveling with the team, understanding how the travel works, understanding how talking to your coach, talking to the other guys on the roster. So I feel like he shouldn't be able to win it, kind of, but I don't know how that works, technically. Anyway, but everybody's being so kind to one another on the chat. It's wonderful to see. Wonderful to see such decorum. And then there's Joe. No, I'm just kidding, Joe. Just giving you all my time. Anyway, like I said, not too much going on. Team USA had a scare from Montenegro, but pulled it out in the end. FIBA is such an interesting sport, or the rules set for FIBA is so interesting in that, that it's a little more physical. You can hit the ball off the rim. Like as soon as it hits the rim, you can hit the ball. You don't have to wait for it to get out of an imaginary cone. There is no, in a way that in a set matter of speaking, there is no goaltending.
Well, there is goaltending, but not after the ball hits the rim.
Not after the ball hits the rim. Yeah, you can't, like, as it's about to go in or out, you're not allowed to hit it. But as soon as it hits the rim, it's live, and there's no, I guess I should say there's no offensive or defensive interference, other than maybe grabbing the net and, like, physically pulling on the rim.
Where does the line draw if the ball bounces and it's in the midair above the cone?
Yeah.
Can you still grab it?
I think that, an umpire.
If I'm understanding the rules, that's a rebundable ball.
It is. It is. It is. And I'm not sure even if it's.
So we're talking about Don Nelson's famous shot that went up 10 feet in the air. We could have jumped up and grabbed that sucker before it went through the hoop, and we would have won that game.
Anyway, right.
18-16.
Yep, I remember.
Not 17-17.
I know. Anyway.
Oh, well.
It's going to be it's been an interesting summer. It's going to be more interesting as we get closer to the season and stuff. And
Christian Wood and Kelly Oubre. Those are two guys I'd like to add to the Lakers.
That's somebody who's been sort of floating under the radar. And that's what I mean. A lot of these guys are probably like, okay, somebody's going to have money. I don't want to sign for the minimum. This is Christian Wood.
But what if nobody has money? Which is very possible.
I think a lot of these guys are just waiting for.
Can I please have a bubble bath?
Sure. Can you give me like 5-10 minutes?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. That was nice of you.
Yeah, I see the GM taking charge there.
That's right. That's the president right there, El Presidente. There's just so much that could happen before camp hits, and that's kind of the. And the other thing is that there's no real timeline for it other than the season starting. So,
well, when you think about it, though, what a dramatic difference it would be to add two guys like that, because we are relying on a 20-year-old Christie as Reaves' backup, and we are relying on Hayes as the center backup.
Well, and like Prince and Hay and Reddish as decent backups as well. And
I actually have Reddish in my mind. I think if the Lakers don't go too big, if the Lakers go too big, then Hayes will start. But I think the other wild card starter is Reddish at 3.
He would take an incredible preseason
because he would, if we didn't do the too big,
incredible training camp.
Yeah, but an incredible training camp. But he's a guy who gives us that boost in size that we need at that position.
You wouldn't want to try to get Oubre for like $5 million.
I don't want. They call him a small forward, but he's still a shooting guard. He's still 6 foot.
We need a shooting guard.
Yeah, I know.
That's what I'm saying. If I was going to give more than the vet minimum to,
if I want a shooting guard, see, I don't have a problem with moving Reaves to the 1 and trading Russell for Buddy if we could do that. I don't know why they would want Russell. I've seen that trade proposed many times, but they've got so many guards. I don't know why they would want another point guard.
I think a lot of people would love to see a Reddish redemption season. I think he's one of those guys that has been in the league long enough and had the hype label attached to him for long enough that
and he's one of the guys that it should be, unlike Wood, he doesn't have a bad reputation, and he should respond to the types of to Darvin Ham and Phil Handy and that type of coaching.
One would hope. One would hope. I mean, this is the thing, though, and this is.
I mean, as much as I'd love to see Wood, that's a real gamble compared to I think Reddish. I think Reddish.
I agree. I think
Reddish, regular progress and discipline that just comes from being a little more mature and reaching a certain point in his career, he can be a real find for the Lakers. He could be a
real find for the Lakers, and I still think if you told me, listen, we're spending $7 because I think we have just under $9 million we could spend, right?
Yep.
So if somebody were to say to me like, all right, we're gonna leave the 15th spot open and we're spending $7 million on Wood, Oubre, or I like Kurt Affair's call, and there's actually a good article on him that I read recently, Rondé Hollis-Jefferson, who's been tearing it up in FIBA.
Mm-hmm.
Was out of the league last season, didn't play for anybody. If you were to tell me we're going to give that much money to one of those three guys, I would pick Oubre. I would pick Oubre over Wood. And
problem is we can't give that money because we're over the cap, so we have to use exceptions. The veteran minimum exception is the only exception we got.
No, we're under the cap.
You'd have to trade Vanderbilt. It's the only other way to get out of that. Or you can do a sign and trade for Oubre or a sign and trade for Wood. But Vanderbilt's the only piece that's tradable.
Or Hood Schifino in a couple of months, I think.
Yeah, we drafted him. He's drafted, so he has just 30 days. So
I think we could trade him now.
Yeah, but it's only $3.7 million.
Yeah, but that with the amount of cap space we have is enough.
Yeah, you're right. Actually, you're right.
That's what I'm saying.
Well, it's about $3.7 million, and we can now. What's the rule? The rule is under $7. We'll have to look this rule up, Jamie, because there's a special rule for under $7.5 million.
I know. There's so many weird.
What you can bring back because you're right, because that's interesting because we're obviously not going to trade Christie for him. And the only other guy under contract other than the superstars is Vanderbilt, except for the new signees.
Right. And you can't. The two ways don't count. Don't count.
I like our two-way guys better than our two draft picks.
I kind of do too.
I'd trade both those draft picks if they needed to accumulate money.
I would even just let them walk. Maybe
I'm gonna have to write an article now today on that whole thing.
Oh man, I'm marking
this. See, look at the reason that LakerTom has to in here is because of Jamie Sweet.
Yeah, Jamie Sweet inspired a LakerTom article with positivity. Look at that. That's it. Show's over. We're not doing any better than this moment right here, folks.
Okay, take care of your daughter. Lakers will trade for Wood. Hood Schifino for Wood. It's gonna happen.
That's your new. That's the
latest.
That's listen, for either, I mean, for Charlotte, that makes a little less sense. Oubre played for Charlotte last season, right?
Yeah.
That makes a little sense. They're not
going to re-sign him. They're not going to re-sign him. They don't want him.
No. But to get Hood Schifino back and money makes a little less sense for Charlotte, I think, than it does for Dallas.
Dallas will take anything they can get.
Except Christian Wood.
That's a plus. That's a plus.
Except Christian Wood. They won't touch him with a 10-foot pole.
But here's the funny thing, I went and looked at the Dallas Mavericks individual defensive ratings. Now, defensive ratings between players on different teams is very hard to compare. But within a team, it gives you a pretty good relative idea of who's playing defense and who's not.
Thanks, Empire Jeff. Under
116.7 is Wood's rating, which was just a step below Luka Doncic's rating of 116.
That's offensive rating, and there's a reason that he didn't play for the team when they needed to win. Empire Jeff found the facts that we were talking about. Under 7.5 mil can bring back up to 200% plus $250,000.
So we could give Wood $7.5 million.
Basically, we could give Wood 7.5.
We could get his bird rights. That's the big thing.
Or Kelly Oubre or Rondé Hollis Jefferson.
Yeah, and we could get the bird rights in all through. Well, somebody has the rights to Rondé Jefferson because you have to have somebody. Somebody has to have.
He wasn't in the league at all last season. He played for 0 teams. He was out of the league.
Yeah, well, then the problem is you can't sign and trade for the sucker.
He'll take the vet minimum. He'll just come back.
He wouldn't be a bad vet minimum.
No, I would do that.
What we lacked, there's one argument for the DeRozans and that type of guy who can get a basket, a good mid-range shot at the end of a game, because we don't really have a guy like that. I mean, that's the things I like about
mid-range master.
Yeah,
he's got a nice mid-range game. Reaves has a nice mid-range game. Hachimura has a nice mid-range game.
Yeah,
I won't put them on the same tier as DeRozan, who's an artist.
But I wouldn't have a problem calling Rui's number for a mid-range shot or Reaves' number for a mid-range shot. And Reaves' number is actually the safer number to call because Rui, he's going to shoot it. Regardless of how good the shot turns out to be, Rui's going to shoot it because he never.
This is the other reason why a sign and trade isn't going to happen. I want to thank Empire and Jeff TV. The resources of your Empire have provided much information for us today. So your spy network is doing great in the Empire.
Yeah, we don't even have to include the other guy, the second round pick,
but with a sign and trade, it has to be a minimum of a 3-year deal now.
Right, but you only have to guarantee the first year. So I would do a team option in the second year and a player option in the third year. And you got his bird rights.
I love DeMar DeRozan. I was really annoyed when we didn't choose DeMar and we chose Russell.
There's I kind of like to see Russell for Buddy.
There's a world that exists in another dimension, like in a Marvel universe. Buddy
is dropping rain, man.
No, where the Lakers. I'm sure there's that alternate dimension as well. The alternate dimension I'm talking about is where the Lakers chose not to trade Kuzma and company to Washington, but instead worked a sign and trade.
So you got a healthy Lonzo and all of the guys running around.
Well, no, where we did a sign and trade for DeRozan instead, and kept Caruso, and that team does pretty well. But exactly, that's what I say, Kurt. He'll be fine. Anyway. Listen, it's been a lovely show. I don't know. Is there anything else you'd like to talk about? We didn't really highlight anything on the blog, but we haven't had any really new dynamic posts.
No, that's just fine. I think there's been some good conversations on the blog.
Yeah.
There'll be the trade for Butchavino will be up there soon. I have to decide whether it's worth actually writing some paragraphs by or just.
Oh, Tom, it's about a trade. It's worth it, right? It's got to be.
Xing it. That's not the same as tweeting it. Exit. I mean, it's very confusing.
You know, it'd be cooler if they were like, "We don't. It's not tweeting anymore. You're just."
Well, the last fascinating thing I'll leave you with is really for me, I find this very encouraging, is that most people, the big reason why people won't buy a Tesla is Elon Musk.
Oh, well, who cares?
50% of the cancellations of Teslas, 50% of the people who sold those cars, they're selling them because of Elon Musk.
All right, well, that's their business. Go back and look at any.
Sorry, I didn't mean to woke the show.
Oh no, I don't even know what that word means. I think it's important for people to understand things. If that means being woke or whatever, that's one of those terms. I'm like, what? People just, I think, invent catchphrases to be annoying at this point. I mean, these are words that have been used for exactly what we're talking about for many years, but now suddenly
we better check off, or else this will get out of hand.
But anyway, oh man, we gave Jay just enough of a chance. Let's trade him for Muscala.
I actually always liked that Muscala trade.
No, Muscala.
He just had a bad little stretch of shooting there, but the idea was
he's terrible.
No, listen, when you got an organization like the Lakers that has been so handicapped by their old school approach to the game of basketball, Their failure to underappreciate the value of 3-point shooting and spacing and how that has hindered the team in the last few years. And then for them to at least make an acknowledgement in trading a dinosaur for a modern center, I thought was at least worth it from a sense of destiny, of understanding where the game is going.
Kind of. I'm not quite there yet. I think I still appreciate a lot of the tenets of old school basketball. I think that.
Well, I still appreciate the ability to nail a 2-point mid-range shot.
Bank shot. Bank shot.
I love players who can do all three. You got to be able to score at all three levels.
That's right, and you need to be able to play. Somebody's been playing with paint.
That's what happens when your
kid walks out of a room like this and their hands are purple and dripping paint everywhere. Yes, I see. Were you playing with paint or slime? It was slime. Okay. Well, we'll hop in the tubby here in about 5 minutes. Okay.
I can't go in the tubby.
You can't go in the tubby. Well, don't worry. We'll fix it. All right. Anyway, we'll call. We're stopping here, folks.
Go Lakers.
I'd like to thank LakerTom for putting up with my kerfluffle scheduling this morning. We were supposed to go on 10:15.
Never a problem, Jamie. Never a problem.
A little later. Please come by Lakerholics.com. We're bantering back and forth all the time there, and we'll banter more as we get through. We're into September. Once you get into August, once you get into October, now you're getting there. Now you're getting there. So
what is the date today? Is this the third? Second? We're 31 days away.
31 days to camp. Yeah, no, we're a solid month away. So, hold on. We got another week or so of FIBA. And then I think once FIBA shuts down, World Cup shuts down, I think you'll see a lot of teams start to revisit trade proposals and stuff like that. But it's just not going to happen right now. There's just no need. So anyway, we here at Lakers Fast Break appreciate all of our viewers. As I'm sure you've seen if you've been following the channel recently, we're battling YouTube troll bots evidently to get us over 1,000 subscribers. So if you're somebody who hasn't subscribed yet and you're watching today, if you're a real person, hit the subscribe button. If you're a troll bot, listen, somebody needs a job somewhere, I guess. But
hit the button too.
Hit the button too. Why not? We're all disposable at some point.
Just need to get up to 2,000, and you don't have to worry about sliding back a little.
Yeah, let's shoot for 1,500 by tomorrow. Then Gerald can sleep nights finally.
Right.
He doesn't sleep. I asked him the other day. I was like, "What? How much sleep do you average per night?" He's like, "I don't know, 2.5, 3 hours." I was like, "I don't know how you're alive." Like,
I'll fire off an email to Jalen Hood-Shavino to let him know that he's probably
that he's gonna probably I'm sure he'll love that. Make sure
I hate to have him be surprised by that.
I hate to ruin his Sunday tomorrow. It's Labor Day. You don't want to ruin it. He's probably having a barbecue. Anyway, happy Labor Day, everyone. To all the workers, enjoy your day of uncorporate servitude for one whole day, and to all you Laker fans out there, keep rocking. And I'm Jamie. That's LakerTom. This is Lakers Fast Break. Have a good one.